we're going to be changing the oil on a Yamaha TR-1 equipped Waverunner today. We're going to need some sort of oil extractor pump. Now they make little manual ones and all kinds of different stuff. This is the one I prefer. You're going to need, of course, an oil filter and oil. We're going to need a funnel. A long funnel is nice. We're going to need a pair of pliers, some channel locks, slip jaw pliers, anything with a wide enough jaw to get off pinch clamps, as well as a 1/2-inch ratchet, a strap oil filter wrench, and some kind of a screwdriver or an awl with a sharp point. Now you'll see why in just a moment. So let's hop on into the engine bay and take a look at what we need to do to get the oil changed on this TR-1 behind me. What we want to do to get started changing the oil on this is warm the engine up. So you could use a flush fitting if it's on a trailer. Don't run it for too awful long on the flush fitting though, because the jet pump isn't loaded. It could cause premature wear there. Ideally, if you back it into the water to ramp or something, you could warm it up, or you can just change it cold. There's some benefits to doing it warm. You may get out extra contaminants, things like that. But regardless, warm it up if you choose to. Then grab yourself your screwdriver or awl, go right onto your oil filter, punch a hole in the top of the oil filter. Now, the reason for doing that is because the oil filter on these TR-1s is not mounted like this, it is mounted like this. So when it screws onto the base, when you unscrew it, all the oil will run out and make a massive mess in your hull. So if you puncture the top, the oil can drain back through into the crankcase where we suck it out of. And you get much less mess because there's just a little remaining oil, not the entire filter full. So puncture that, then we're going to actually start extracting oil. So grab your pliers and this hose right here. Not this one that goes to the valve cover, but this one back here that is attached to this little silver bracket, the same one that the flush fitting is on. So your flush fitting's here, there's a lifting hook here, right here. This little kind of ribbed hose, I guess you could say. Go ahead, take your pliers, pinch that pinch clamp, slide that clamp off, and pull that hose off. Now this hose right here goes to the very bottom of the oil pan in the crankcase. So we're going to be extracting oil from here in this hose and also from the dipstick, our yellow dipstick right back here where the oil tank is. So let's stick our extractor hose down here, pull what we can out of the crankcase, and then we'll start extracting from the oil tank. And by then our filter will have drained. We can unscrew the filter without making a big mess and refill. So my oil extractor connects to the battery. You're going to have to do that if you have an electric one. If you have a manual one, just start pumping it, I guess. Okay, seems like we've got that crankcase fairly well dry. Grab a rag, wipe off your hose as it comes out, because we don't want to make a mess, even if it is a small mess. Now, we'll extract from our oil tank. Pull your dipstick out, put your hose down in. And as you can see, this was some pretty dirty oil. This thing was ready. Grab our filter wrench and ratchet that goes along with it, and we're going to crack this filter loose. So, easy as could be to use this thing. Put it on. Wrap it up. There we go. Now, it is generally still a good idea. If you have some of these oil dry pads or some rags, put them around the vicinity because there are going to have some oil that's going to be spilled. We're going to use our extractor hose and punching that hole in the top to eliminate as much as possible. So get some rags around here in the area. Switch our extractor back on. And then get that tucked down in next to the filter. And spin our filter off. And look at that. Make sure you plug the bottom of the filter with your finger, but not a drop spilled. So much easier than what everybody else tells you to do. Use your extractor to suck out what there is left around the filter. Punching the hole in there basically eliminated the need for that rag because it came out essentially dry. I'm going to double check both the crankcase and the oil tank again because I'm very particular about this stuff, but we're going to set this over on an oil drain pan so that any remaining oil that's in there can drip out and we can recycle this appropriately. Grab your pliers, slide our crankcase drain hose back on along with the pinch clamp, get that back on there, and we're going to take our new oil filter, take just a little bit of our oil, and I just want to pour just a touch on the top of the filter so that I can take it, spread it around that O-ring, get it down on the threads, and then take it and screw it back on to our oil tank down here. Snug, hand tight is sufficient. You know, good and snug, but you don't need to put it on with a wrench. Now, some guys will tell you that you need to suck oil out of here. This is the valve cover. If you're retaining oil up here, you got bigger issues than needing an oil change. But I am going to pour a little bit of oil in there so that the crankcase has some oil in it and we don't run the primary pump dry. So we'll pour just about a quart or so down in here. And we'll pour more in here. We'll put in about 2 quarts or so. And then we'll start it up, make sure that it fills the filter and that our level is correct. And we can top up as needed. Check with our dipstick again. Now we're just at the low. So we're going to have oil to both the pumps. We can double check it after we've run it. Probably top up with that last half quart. Okay, last check. Now we are right at the full mark here, so that's right where we want it. We'll close everything up, and there you have it. Your oil on your TR-1 changed, no mess, no hull full of oil, no nightmare. I'd say that was pretty easy, wouldn't you? So there you have it. Should keep your engine running for a good number more hours. Thanks for watching.